Hi everyone, this is Annindita Palaus, and I wanted to make this short video describing my experience with the Shambhavi Mahamudra that I learned last Sunday from Sadhguru. And like many of you might know that Sadhguru had been teaching this inner engineering program, and because of the pandemic, last year he stopped teaching it because it was taught in person. And he started offering the inner engineering program as an online course. And I really wanted to learn this program from him because I had been following Sadhguru for some time and I loved his teachings. In fact, I have several of his books as well. And so when I signed up for the inner engineering online program, I realized that he wouldn't be teaching the Shambhavi Mahamudra that he was teaching as part of the inner engineering program when he was teaching in person, because apparently that transmission just needed to be in person because it involved certain kriyas, breathing techniques, and yoga postures which had to be done properly. And so he stopped teaching that in the online course. But I believe over the year, people were asking him, to start teaching it online. And then for the first time in 2021, Sadhguru started teaching the Shambhavi Mahamudra as part of the Inner Engineering Completion Program. And the very first session was actually held on January 24th. That was a Sunday, and that was the one that I attended. And this video is really about my experience with that, especially if there are people who want to learn the Shambhavi Mahamudra from Sadhguru, who have already taken the Inner Engineering online course, but they are on the fence, because I have come across people sometimes who believe that things are best learned in person. And so I wanted to make this video to just share my experience, and hopefully it will help you make up your mind as to whatever is the best decision for you. So the Inner Engineering Completion course happened over a period of 3 days, and the first two courses happened on Monday and Tuesday last week for me, which was actually with Isha Yoga instructors. It was not live with Sadhguru. And the final session happened with Sadhguru on Sunday. And that was a very intensive all-day program. It began at 9 in the morning and it ended like around 5:30 in the evening. From 9 to 10, it was just a review of what we already learned on Monday and Tuesday with the Isha Yoga instructors. Then there was a 1-hour break. And then from 11, we continued till 5:30. There were small little breaks every 1.5 to 2 hours. And that was completely with Sadhguru. So to start off with, sometimes people might, have questions as to if you were able to learn the yoga postures properly, the mudras properly, and the breathing properly. And my personal experience was just amazing. Like, I have attended so many online workshops in my life, but I have never attended a workshop that is so well thought out and so well put together. First of all, their 24/7 chat, I'm not sure it was 24/7 or not, but the chat was extremely helpful, because on Sunday, I was about to log into my session and it was only 10 minutes left and I was not able to log in. And I got a little anxious because I wanted to log in on time. And I went on the chat on their website and I was thinking that, oh my God, I don't know how long it's going to take before somebody comes up on the chat to help me out. Because apparently there were hundreds and hundreds of people who were attending this online. But it didn't take me even a minute to get somebody on chat. Literally, I messaged and instantly there was a reply and my problem was solved in less than a minute. So that was just amazing. And I was just able to instantly log in and just continue with my session. Secondly, another very useful thing they did was to have this live chat available. And so we had to keep our cameras on all the time, because apparently they had a lot of volunteers who were watching the people at home practicing, because these are very specific yoga postures and breathing techniques and things like that had to be done correctly and in the proper sequence. And it was essential that people stay in an undisturbed, quiet environment free of any distractions. And to make sure that people were actually in a quiet, undisturbed environment, we had our cameras turned on and there were a lot of Isha Yoga instructors who were watching all the participants. And if they saw any participant being distracted, writing notes, or the pets roaming around, or just talking to people, doing something on the phone, then they would instantly send a chat message telling them to not do that, because they were very specific about not taking any notes, because they wanted people to get this experientially and not just as a mental thing. It was not something that you need to memorize and make notes. You just need to be attentive and observant and be fully present in the experience. And really, they made sure that you got everything. Like, I didn't make any notes whatsoever. I didn't feel the need to make any notes, but they went through everything so many times and we had so much time to ask questions. You could always ask your questions on the chat box. And in fact, after the sessions were over, they even stayed over time answering all the questions. So they were really very meticulous about the whole process. And I feel like all my questions got answered. The video demonstrations were done very nicely. They were good quality videos instructing exactly how to do the yoga poses, how to do the mudras, how to do the breathing correctly. And there were also correction videos which were showing people the things to avoid or things not to do, some of the common mistakes that people tend to make, which I thought was very, very helpful, because I was making some of those mistakes myself, because I don't really have a yoga background as such. I have very little yoga background, like literally no formal training as such, like maybe a few months. I do practice maybe 15-20 minutes of yoga every day, but that is just from YouTube. I watch some YouTube videos and primarily for a fitness purpose, but not so much from the perspective of mind-body connection. So these yogic postures and asanas and mudras, as well as some of the breathing techniques and the bandhas, that was something very new for me, especially the bandhas, because I'm not used to doing those bandhas the way they were teaching. So of course, they did say that initially, if you're not used to doing it, it will take some time for your body to have that coordination, but eventually it gets better and better. And it has just been a few days and I already feel it getting much, much easier and better. And I have more coordination with my muscles. So like I was saying, it was an extremely smooth and seamless experience. At no point in time did I ever feel like I should have taken this course in person. And by the way, Sadhguru has started teaching this program in person as well, but he's currently in India and I am in Florida. So it wouldn't have been possible for me anyways to fly to India and attend the course in person. So the online experience was such a smooth and seamless experience that it literally felt like Sadhguru was right there with me in my living room. It was just an amazing experience. And the fact that it was an all-day long experience and I got to spend so much time with him, literally it felt like I was in his presence. It was just amazing. It was a really immersive experience. And another awesome thing that I liked about their support is, first of all, you have access to email support. If you have any questions later on, you can get your questions answered through their dedicated email support line, which is specifically for people who are taking the course online. And they have also made this available on the Sadhguru app for free for those who have taken this program online, a 40-day support system. Because once you receive the Shambhavi Mahamudra, you're supposed to be doing it twice a day for 40 days to finish one mandala. And then you can start doing it once a day. So I thought that that was a really incredible support to provide through the app for free for 40 days. And in the app, what I saw is that you can set up reminders, daily reminders for yourself, for self-practice. And you can also set up daily reminders for practice with a Isha Yoga instructor. So if you want a guided practice, you can have that through the app. Or if you just want to practice by yourself, you can set up a reminder through the app every day. I thought that was really well thought out and really great way to support the practice for people who have taken this online. Now, coming to the Shambhavi Mahamudra itself, of course, in this video, I'm not planning to teach what the Shambhavi Mahamudra is, because it needs to be learned from Sadhguru himself. But if you are curious about what does it even mean, if you have not heard about Sadhguru, I highly recommend that you check him out on YouTube or one of his books. But the Shambhavi Mahamudra is one of the things that Sadhguru teaches in the Inner Engineering program. And the way he describes it is basically a tool that would open up doorways or possibilities for you. Like, he uses this analogy that most of us, we live in our own cages, and it's like, a bird who has been caged all their life. Even if you open up the cage, they won't fly. It's like that. So most of us have created this cage for ourselves in lives. And so the Shambhavi Mahamudra is a key to open up that cage or open up the door. Once that doorway is opened, then what you want to do with it is totally up to you. But at least it is a tool or a key that opens up limitless possibilities for you, limitless doorways for you, so to speak. And the word Shambhavi Mahamudra itself can be divided into 4 parts. The word Sham means evening or twilight, but it also refers to Lord Shiva or Adi Yogi, the very first yogi. And if you know a little bit about Lord Shiva, he is supposed to be the god of destruction. Now, you might think that, why is there a god for destruction? Isn't that a bad and negative thing? The thing is, creation happens as a trinity. There is creation, there is preservation, and then there is destruction or dissolution. And that's why that trinity in Hindu religion has been named as Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwar, or Shiva. Brahma is the god of creator. Vishnu is the preserver, the god of preservation. And Mahesh, or Shiva, is the god of destruction or dissolution. So the thing to realize is that without destruction or dissolution, there can be no further creation. It is a self-sustaining mechanism: creation, preservation, and dissolution. It all happens side by side. In fact, right now in your body, these 3 forces are happening right now, side by side, in a perfect balance. And this balance needs to be maintained even in the universe. So Sham relates to Lord Shiva or Adi Yogi, the first yogi. And if you want to learn more about that, you could always read Sadhguru's book, Adi Yogi, The Source of Yoga. I just started reading it and I'm loving this book. I haven't finished reading it yet, but it's really interesting. So Sham relates to Lord Shiva. Bhavi is from the Sanskrit word bhav, which means being or becoming. Maha means super or mighty or great. And mudra, of course, mudra is a very common word. A lot of people use that word in yoga or meditation. Mudra basically means a gesture or a pose, or even a mark or seal. So Shambhavi Mahamudra, to literally translate that in English, is a gesture or a pose that helps you in becoming more like the Shiva. But that is just the literal interpretation of the word. The way Sadhguru describes the Shambhavi Mahamudra is really, he talks about Sham as being the evening or the twilight zone, and he really emphasizes on the twilight zone aspect of it, because apparently in yogic culture or in yoga, the twilight zones are the zones during which there is a great flux. Everything is in a state of flux. And because everything is in a state of flux, your life energies are also in a state of flux. And if you're doing certain yogic practices during these times, then because your life energies are in a state of flux, it helps you in breaking through limitations much faster. And that's why they recommend to practice the Shambhavi Mahamudra during these twilight zones or Sandhya Kalas. There are 4 Sandhya Kalas in a 24-hour period. Although for practicing the Shambhavi Mahamudra, you don't have to practice it during the Sandhya Kalas, even though those are the most conducive times to practice it. You can literally practice it anytime during the day, as long as you are in an undisturbed environment and you have an empty stomach. And I really like that part, because the Sandhya Kalas are not really always the times that it would be convenient for me personally to be practicing. I am not a very early riser, and midnight is also not a good time for me. Afternoon could possibly be, afternoon and sunset are some possible times, But since there is flexibility in when I could be doing it, as long as I have empty stomach, so that's really awesome for me personally. So that was my experience with the Shambhavi Mahamudra. And of course, just doing the practice by itself, what I am noticing in myself is that in general, there is this feeling of lightness and just happiness for no reason. I just feel lighter in my body and I just feel happier and more energized. And it's just an amazing feeling. And the first time I did the Shambhavi Mahamudra, at first, I don't know why, but I just felt like laughing a lot. And then I also had some tears. And then there was a short period of time when I was laughing and crying at the same time. I know that sounds crazy, but it's not that crazy though, because I have had similar experiences with other meditative practices or other spiritual practices as well. And the same experience happened even on the second day. But today in the morning when I practiced, I didn't have that experience anymore. It is something that we don't need to analyze intellectually. It is an experiential process. And as long as you stay present with the process and experience it, I really feel that it doesn't make a difference whether you do it in person at the Isha Yoga Center or online, because the online experience was really an incredible experience for me. So I hope this video helped in bringing some clarity to you if you have also taken the Inner Engineering online program, and if you are feeling a little skeptical about attending the course online, the completion course with Sadhguru online. I would say go for it. But if you still feel skeptical and if you really want to take it only in person, then you could always be checking the dates where Sadhguru is actually doing it in person. So I hope this video was helpful. If you like these videos, then like this, leave your comment, and remember to subscribe to my channel to be notified of my upcoming videos. Bye for now.